It's Matt here, along with Goose, and today we're going to talk about the new upcoming event, Dragon Quest III, that should be arriving within the next 10 days on Dragon Quest Tactics, so please stay tuned. Alright, I know we're still working on our Slime Festival, but the next and actually it's a pretty good event, Dragon Quest III, is going to be coming within roughly the next 10 days or so. And what's really interesting is the first unit is going to be Baramos. And I know the spell meta is still very powerful right now. What about slimes? Well, Slimeheart's good, but everyone else is okay. Baramos is. I'm not super excited for Baramos, but I'm excited for the next one after Baramos. Uh, he is a very okay mage. His leadership is pretty good, increases strength of spells, including himself, by 15%. His first skill is a 115% damage on all enemies within range. Rarely lowers defense. It's actually kind of unique here. The second one here is the MP consumption of 22, the Necro Iron Zone. It's a bang skill, randomly does 55% bang damage to enemies with 4 times. So it's one of those random skills. Still very powerful, very nice for a lot of units. And the last one is Compressed Iron Zone. 52, 70% bag magic power and one enemy 4 times and rarely lowers defense. Baramos is kind of very similar to Slimeheart, who's currently in play right now. And so I kind of wanted to see the similarities, except it's magic based. But honestly, it's not quite as strong because the defense doesn't really help as much as I would say Slimeheart does. So it's not quite as good of a unit. It's also, Baramos doesn't quite have the wisdom like Slimeheart has in the attack. So it might look really interesting, but it's just not nearly as good as Slimeheart. The Awakening skill here, zap damage and MP down for the first one. Zam resistance up 25 for the second dupe. Wind resistance, or swoosh resistance 25 for the fourth dupe. Third and fifth is compressed Iron Zone power. Overall, and I'm going to do a much more detailed analysis of each of these units in the following week or so. This one I'm not nearly as excited for, even though the A unit for this one is actually a very interesting unit. And I kind of wish the A units were switched because I have a sneaky suspicion that I won't get the one that I want, and instead I'll get the one that I'm pulling for. Now, the unit that I'm looking forward to for Magic, and a lot of other people are too, are Zoma. It's a slightly better leadership effect than Baramos, which makes a lot of sense. If you've played Dragon Quest III, you know Zoma's just that much more powerful than Baramos. Its first skill, and also what's interesting is we're going to get 2 more question units. So they're actually going to get fairly full. If you have all 4 of them, you can actually start to expect to get some stat increases, and they're going to get pretty powerful. This will, I'm not going to say it's going to be the end of the question units, but we're not going to see as much of them from here on out afterwards. And actually, relatively soon, we'll finally start seeing some heroes as well. The first one is the Breath of Ice magic. I probably should just call it Breath of Ice instead of magic because it is crackle breath damage to all enemies within range. Occasionally stuns though, which is really, really nice. The one thing that I do want to make sure that everyone's careful of, Zoma's leadership effect is based off of spells and not off of breath damage. So this breath damage is kind of unique, and not nearly as useful as some of the other first skills for units that we have. This is my only major negative of Zoma. But it does stun and it does have AoE, which is very, very good overall. I like. Also, remember, people are like, oh, breath skill. Let me use Great Dragon. The Great Dragon only affects Dragon Breath and not any other breath skills. So this Breath of Ice magic is really, really hard to find a leadership to help enhance it. If it was more enhanceable, then I would be really excited about using it. But as a skill itself, not entirely enthused. The second skill, though, Psycho Cannon. Uh, Elementalist, large magic damage to one enemy. Very powerful skill. Incredibly high MP consumption. But very powerful skill. And it's actually range of 3, not 1. I'm sorry. The last one is Ruined Ice Block. Heavy crackle damage to all enemies within range. 120 MP though. The one big problem is the MP is very expensive. And in order to really use Zoma, you need that second dupe, which helps lower MP and increase spell power all the way through his skills. It really does help a lot. He does have a lot of MP, but he is very MP hungry. But still, he just flat out does damage. Second dupe is Frizz Resistance plus 25. Fourth dupe, is Bang Resistance 25. The third and fifth is the Ruined Ice Block power plus 5%. I'm not sure if I'm pulling for 2. I'm really thinking about using my, because you're in this event, we're going to get more question mark units. I'm really thinking that I might actually use all of my shards to get a Zoma dupe. I kind of thinking at this point right now, but we'll see how lucky I am with Zoma, and I will definitely be doing a decent amount of pulls right there. So the A summonable units for the DQ3 event, for the Zoma summon is the Boss Troll. It's level 90 stats, very high in HP, okay in attack, poor defense comparatively to a lot of other tanks. Its agility is okay, wisdom's low with a movement of 2. It is a very interesting tank. Its third skill, I'm sorry, is MP of 21. Greatly recovers its own HP, so it's fairly self-sufficient. This is the Zoma summon. This is the one I'm not as excited for. I would have rather have gotten Snow Dragon on Zoma. I think that would have been much more exciting. But overall, it's a much worse version of the Great Troll. Has the same issues as the Great Troll with high HP but low defense, so you need to be able to heal it consistently. Not a huge fan, especially since I do have the Great Troll already, but it is a usable unit, and I'm probably getting one because I'm going hard for Zoma. The Snow Dragon, though, is a very interesting unit. It is a very high attack, but it is the biggest glass cannon that we have. It is at least very interesting. Its attack is 428 with a movement of 4. It is very, very quick, and its agility is 355, so it hits all of the major skills, and it's a dragon, and it has breath damage. It's something that I kind of really want to play with for a dragon breath team, but I need to get lucky in order to get it. As I say, with Baramos, I'm not going nearly as hard as I am for Zoma. Now, maybe if I get really lucky with Zoma, I might try a little harder with Baramos, and more actually to get Snow Dragon. I'm actually a bit more excited about Snow Dragon than I am about Baramos. Remember, as the main units for the A, you have a 3% chance of summoning them, so good luck if you're interested in either of these two units as well. Now, we also get two farmable units that are A level. The first one's the Red Ghost, who is actually a pretty interesting unit for AoE. I like the Hell Knight just a little bit better, but they're both interesting, especially for arena, and even more so for when the arena only allows A units. They can be very annoying and very interesting. Um, both these units I'm actually going to probably farm outright for 5 hearts. The skills here, so Red Ghost will put enemies to sleep. This is a great way to get enemies to pause. It also has a pretty powerful crackle spell, and occasionally will reduce the strength and skill of all enemies in AoE with the breath skill there. Its agility is good. It has a decent HP and a good defense. Its wisdom is actually pretty good as well. Overall, that's a pretty decent unit. Personally, I actually think Red Ghost is better than Boss Troll. And it's a bit odd that the Red Ghost is the farmable unit and the Boss Troll is summonable. But I'm very happy about that because this is a unit I definitely want a 5 heart. But man, Hell Knight, I like this just a little bit better. It is got a little bit more HP, a little bit more defense, a little bit more attack. Its agility is slower, and its wisdom's lower. But honestly, I'm not too worried about the wisdom. Paralyzed to me is a better debuff than sleep. Obviously, it depends on the enemies you're fighting, though. Some enemies are weak to sleep, others are weak to paralyze, and you have both of these options here that you can get 5 hearts, max stats, and the stats are actually good for these units. And for a lot of debuff units, you usually see much lower survivability. The Red Ghost doesn't quite survive as well as the Hell Knight. Another reason I'm really interested in the Hell Knight. It has breathing, occasionally puts enemies paralyzed, just like Sweet Breath can do up to 3. Its whoosh physical damage is pretty powerful. As I say, its attack is 335, which is pretty good for the A. It's not nearly as high as the Snow Dragon, but it's a much more survivable unit. But that's another reason why I'm interested in the Snow Dragon as well. They can do some pretty good damage. But because Hell Knight you can actually farm, very good unit, very good free-to-play unit base. Actually, they're both very good free-to-play. Because usually there's each of these enemies or each of the EX will be weak to one debuff. And the more that you can pile on debuffs, the better off you will be to actually make it easier for yourself. So that's why it's kind of important to know what these farmable units are. The Red Ghost was farmable from Chapter 5, Episode 3, and the Hell Knight was farmed Chapter 4, Episode 1. And so all of these are pretty good. Hell Knight can actually do a decent amount of damage on top of it with the Cemetery Slash. Randomly inflicts 60% physical damage 4 times to all enemies in AoE. So all in all, I'm pretty psyched about this DQ3. Not just for Zoma, but the farmable units are top tier. Like the Green Dragon, incredibly useful as a tank. We get great poisoners from the slime. Now we have our sleep and paralyze units. Now the free-to-play is pretty much filled out with the useful but niche enemies or farmable units to play with. So it's very important there. Now, there are other farmable units here. We have the Hollow Ghost, Gamagon, Marine Slime, Frostcloud, Bunnycorn, and Raven Lunatic. All of these units are permanently farmable after the event. So this is stuff that you will unfortunately need to get one of fairly quickly, and I'll explain why in a minute. But due to this, after getting the first one, don't worry about getting the others until you have more time for those farmings, as these should be all permanently farmable after said event. Now, for the DQ3 trade-in and items, most importantly here, what we have are the items on the right. At the bottom here is the iridescent orb, which is always the most important item to get, as it's the most rare at 3001 max. I also don't have the iridescent irises, which you can get 10 of as well. Then what you'll see here is you also can get both the Zoma and Baramos ticket, 5 each. Baramos will be the first week. Zoma will be there at the second or third week. We will also be getting 30 more question mark fragments, which is very important. That's the reason why, if you bought the fragments from the first one, there are 60 fragments that you should have already, which means you only need to get 40 more, or 80 monster medals, which we should be fairly close to by that time as well, if you've been playing it every day and getting those monster medals. Which is the reason why I'm not sure if I'm going for a dupe for Zoma, or if I get really lucky and get Zoma early and I didn't get Baramos, do I try to get Baramos? I don't know. I've really got to think about it. But as I say, we shall see on that, and we'll figure that out. There's also a vacuum scroll, which is very important. There's also the Bang book and Crackle book. Those are for your skill upgrades. You get 5 of those apiece as well. Obviously, the Bang skills for Baramos and Crackles for Zoma. But if there's other units you want to use instead of Baramos, you can use it there as well. For the Crackle book, if you don't have Zoma, a Killing Machine would be a good one. And if you don't have Baramos, Archdemon would be a good unit for that as well to potentially use it on. Now, on the left-hand side, you can also purchase them for sheets, but instead I highly suggest that you farm these. The first one is the Perishable Blade, which is you can farm in Chapter 5-4. This is for Zoma, and incredibly well tailored to Zoma, just like Dragon's Lord Staff was to Dragon Lord. It basically, the Crackle spell plus 5% is made for Zoma. Gives him Wisdom 14 and MP 14, and Zoma just burns through MP quickly, so having a little bit of MP included there is helpful. Excuse me. Alchemy, you can get Crackle Spell, MP, Wisdom, and Agility. All very good, but obviously if you can get a couple of Crackle Spell percentages along with that, that will make your Zoma hit like a monster truck. Very important. Now, sorry, I forgot to say, this could be also farmed in Chapter 5-4. The harder the level you get, the better chance you'll get for it, so farm it at the highest difficulty you feel comfortable with. For the True Majin Axe in Chapter 4-4, this is a great A weapon. It is a wind physical attack plus 22. You can use wind physical attack HP, MP. Excuse me. For the Hell Demon, this is a good axe for him. But I'm also thinking of it, and the reason why I've been holding Goo this entire time is that this is absolutely great for God Rider or for Slideheart. But it's Goo Rider, yay! That's another really good axe or weapon for Slideheart. There's a couple of really good weapons for Slideheart, but this one is something that you don't have to get all the mini medals for. It's something you could farm and get very top tier alchemy skills for Slideheart as well. The last one, which is going to be introduced in a new style event, is Ogon no Tsume. It's a very, very good claw with attack plus 17 and agility 17. It's really high in the agility. Alchemy is physical power, agility, and attack. You can get this in Pyramid 5 clear, and also if you can farm it and defeat the ultra hard enemy, which is after this point. Pyramid event is brand new in DQ3, and in a lot of these style games, it is actually fairly unique and it is fun. The clearing condition is not to defeat all the enemies, it is to reach the target square. So you need to have a high speed movement character. I'll be using most likely my hybrid, but anything that is fast, that has 3 or 4, will be important. You can only do this once each day, but it requires no stamina. So make sure that if you log in once a day, do your pyramid event. It does give pretty good rewards. But there's one more very interesting twist to this, and it is you cannot use spells on any of the stages. And so I know a lot of people have been focusing on magic teams, and I want to get out the word as soon as I can, stating that you really need to work on either a breath team, a martial team, or a physical team to help you with this pyramid event. And there will be events where maybe martial will be banned or in the later as well. So that's kind of why we've been trying to get people to build different teams. And this is the first one. And unfortunately, because I'm a huge fan of the Oga no Sume, it's kind of a little mean that it's so early for a non-spell team. It would have been nicer if it was no breath or no martial, as those are a little harder to get at right now. And it's also odd that the 2 major units that you're trying to get are are mages, and there are no spells on these stages. But it is what it is. 2 notes here, and I'll go through the rest of this in more detail near the event. But Pyramid 3 notes: if you have Queen Slime, and it's not just Pyramid 3 for Queen Slime. Queen Slime is very useful in this style event. When she can push units up or closer to you, you can use your hybrid to fly around. Use her to pull away the White King. With that, then the spot will open up and it will become a breeze. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a messy battle, especially if you don't have high tier units. Pyramid 3 can be mildly frustrating. Pyramid 5 notes, this is the last event. There is a super hard enemy called a Hell Crusher. We have those units currently as well. You can earn additional alchemy materials for the Oga no Sume if you can beat it, but it has very high HP and attack, so be very careful. If you don't attack it, it won't attack you. So if you're not powerful enough to attack it, just avoid it, be careful, you'll be okay. For the battle roads, there are 2. The first one is with the Hell Knight here as the leader. The big concern about this one is none of these units are currently in the game. They will all be released for the DQ3 event, so there's nothing that you could prepare for here. It's a bit frustrating, but that's the way it goes. The A and the S unit are summonable, and the Hell Knight, which is can be farmed fairly quickly. But you have to farm all of these units when it comes out so that you can level them up. Last but not least is the Bone Dragon. This one is the second of the battle roads. It will be released when Zoma's out. The good news is that the Muddy Hand, your Chimeras, and the Slimes are all been released. So at least you've only got... And the Bone Dragon is also currently out in the game. So if you have a Bone Dragon, you will be able to level it up there. So this is all that you're looking for that. The only ones that are new are your A's and S units, which is what you should expect. And 2 of those 4 units are actually farmable as well. So this one is a little bit more friendly overall for the battle roads. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this DQ3. I'm really excited. The Pyramid is a wonderful event. Uh, I think it's fun. It's very unique, especially in this style gacha. What do you think? What are you most excited by? What do you think that we have missed? Let me know in the comments down below. Please give a like and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys later. But most importantly, be safe and have fun, travelers. Bye.